This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today being Tuesday, we're doing a top 5 list, and this is one of those kind of top tips sort of videos, and I've done a bunch of these in the past aimed at beginners, how to master bar chords and, strumming technique and all that sort of thing. But truth is, I don't have a lot of beginners on my roster of students at the moment. Everybody is kind of sort of intermediate to advanced, and it's the intermediate players who I'm talking to now. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You've got all of your kind of cowboy chords sorted out. You can play all of those, no problem at all. Bar chords, equally, no problem. You can play through a song. You do all the chord changes. Your strumming technique is fine. You've got a few scales under your belt, a pentatonic box here, a major scale shape there, and whatever else you've got learned. You've even got a few licks that you can play. And then, you just kind of start thinking, yeah, but what do I do with all of this? Where do I go? How do I move beyond this? What is the way forward? Well, if that sounds like the sort of issue that you're wrestling with at the moment, then maybe these tips may be helpful. Starting with...
Find your thing.
Yeah, find your thing, okay? Not every guitar player can be, a fantastic master of all trades. I mean, Guthrie Govan, maybe, and to an extent as well, someone like Eric Johnson. But, most great guitarists are great at what they do. Did we ever see Stevie Ray Vaughan doing two-handed tapping or sweep picking or anything like that? You get what I'm saying. Find what it is that floats your boat and stick with that and excel at it. The thing is, if you let's kind of go on with the blues analogy. If you're like a passionate blues fan, and occasionally you'll stumble across maybe, a Guthrie Govan video or, Michelangelo Beatty or something like that, and your jaw drops to the floor and you think, I want to be able to do that. Yeah, but how much do you want to be able to do that? Are you going to put in the countless thousands of hours that's taken them to get to that point? Or are you going to think, well, no, actually, that's incredible and I can appreciate it, but it's not what I'm doing, okay? I'm just more into this kind of thing and I want to pursue that. So find your thing. Find the thing that you're good at. I mean, when was the last time you saw me playing an 8-string drop-tuned new metal riff or something like that? I'm not even sure that's the right terminology. You know what I mean? That's not what I do, so I don't profess to, be able to demonstrate it or talk knowledgeably about it, as you can probably tell from now. For me, it's blues, a little bit of jazz, classic rock and blues rock. That's what I do, and that's what I always wanted to do, and that's hopefully what I've got reasonably good at over the years. So if you do the same, you'll have your thing that you're good at, and no one else is going to do a better version of you than you. Next.
Play with others.
Play with others, yes. You could have just played the most fantastic solo over a YouTube backing track, and it's incredible, and you're so pleased with it, and you just look around and the four walls are staring back at you, and, what satisfaction is there in that? Get together with other people, open mic nights, jam nights, something like that. If you're a bit kind of nervous or there's a bit of trepidation about playing in front of an audience, then, get together with like-minded people and go and, hire a room in a community centre somewhere and just get together for a little kind of middle-aged bloke's guitar or whatever. But, I suspect it will be middle-aged bloke's guitar club once a week, and you turn up and, you have a bit of a jam together, and, oh, that's a cool sounding lick, you say to one of your companions, and they compliment you, and it's just, it just boosts your ego, I guess, a little bit, boosts your confidence, certainly. And, you start sharing tips and information and knowledge, and, it's fun. And maybe you all go off for a pint afterwards. Stranger things have happened, I suppose. But yeah, play with others. You don't have to, if you want to go out and kind of start a band or join a band, fine, do that. Or just, as I say, open mic nights, or just some kind of occasion where you can get together with other musicians and have fun, because it's fun, and you'll be amazed at how it'll help your playing develop as well, I think. So that's another one. Play with others. Next.
Set goals.
Indeed. Set yourself goals to achieve. It could be that you want to learn to play a particular song. It might be that you want to learn to play a particular solo. Don't, shoot for the moon. Don't shoot for something that's absolutely virtuoso level, and it's, you don't have anywhere near the level of technique to get there. Just try for something that's a little bit outside your comfort zone. I can't tell you how pleased I was relatively recently. Well within the lifetime of this channel, when I got the outro solo from Comfortably Numb done. And there's been a few solos, and there's a video on that on my channel somewhere. There's been a few solos that I featured on the channel that was like, okay, yeah, that's a bucket list thing ticked off. So set goals. It might be a song, it might be a solo, it might just be, playing your own solo, the best version of a solo that you can do over a particular backing track. And, how you could do that is, for example, have half a dozen, maybe a dozen goes at it. And, I like a bit of that one, I like a bit of that one, I like a bit of that one, and then just kind of edit them all together into one solo that you like, and then learn to play that. And as you're learning it, you'll probably improve upon it and be able to improvise around it. And, the first time you do it, it might take you a dozen different takes. But, third, fourth, fifth times that you do it, you're probably going to be able to do it in a couple of takes. And then hopefully, maybe one day you'll be able to do it in one take. But setting a goal, something that you can work towards, focuses the mind and gets you, playing better, hopefully, and getting more enjoyment out of it as well. That's the key thing. Next.
You don't need all the gear.
You don't need all the gear. There is no magic pedal. There is no kind of magic, and it usually is a pedal actually, but there's, getting that more expensive guitar, that super duper drive pedal or whatever, or I really need that delay because that delay pedal because I can't play this thing. No, okay. Just use what you've got. It is incredibly difficult these days to find any piece of guitar-related equipment that will give you a truly awful sound. Certainly in the grand scheme of things. Certainly when I think back to the kind of equipment that I was gigging with as a teenager. That satellite Les Paul copy on the back wall there. We've done a couple of videos on that. The standard of equipment and the tones you can get out of it for not very much money these days has risen exponentially in recent years. So you don't need that next piece of gear. You don't need to go out and kind of buy something that will solve all your problems, because you're probably you probably already have the sound that you want anyway. And if you don't, learn to use the gear that you've got. Look up on YouTube, how to dial in a tone, that kind of thing. Plenty of information out there about that. It's pretty much guaranteed that, shelling out, some more money for this thing that you think is going to be a magic bullet is probably going to be, a fool's errand. So you don't need all the gear. Next.
You do need the theory.
Yes, indeed, you do need the theory. Now, let me just clarify what I'm saying here. I am not saying that you need to be able to have scholarly conversations about the difference between the Mixolydian mode and the Lydian dominant scale. And, you don't need to be able to reel off, every kind of interval from every perceivable root note. You don't need to be able to kind of come out with and understand tons and tons of jargonistic terms. That's not what music theory is, right? Music theory is just having an understanding of how everything you play relates to itself. I can use this lick over that chord, but not over that one, and I know the reason why. So that helps you avoid, playing embarrassing wrong notes, in front of an audience or whatever. I know that these two chords tend usually to go together. So, if I'm playing a song, I don't need to have like a memory full of, this song and of this chord going to this chord, going to this chord, going to this chord. Music has a grammar and a syntax to it, in the same way as a language does. And if you understand that, it makes it much easier to think, well, okay, I know what chord comes next because that's a logical one that's going to come next. Whether or not, as I say, the textbook terminology for it is neither here nor there. The way I learned it was I learned all the kind of relationships. I just kind of unearthed them and discovered them, trial and error and what have you. And then the terminology and the jargon came later. So, whether you need that at all is debatable. It helps to communicate with other people, I suppose, but you do need an understanding of what you're playing, because otherwise it just becomes an exercise in memorizing tons and tons and tons of information that at some point something's going to go wrong, and you're going to end up playing something wrong and potentially, disastrous consequences. So learn to understand what you're playing. And that is the essence of music theory. And those are the 5 tips I would give to any intermediate level guitar player. If there's any that you think I've missed, or if there's any that you disagree with on this list, well, you know where to go down in the comment section below. That is the place for discussions of that nature. But that is pretty much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and found it useful and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. We have a beer and talk about music and guitars. What is not to like about that? It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.